Today we're changing the oil in my 2013 Chevy Spark. I can't help it. This little change is going to be cute, and I just want to film it just because. This is like changing the oil on a Lego. It's funny. Let's do this. I cannot get over how cute this oil filter is for this car. That is itty bitty. So I went and bought this attachment because this oil filter is sort of wedged between the muffler and the transmission. I'll be showing it here in a minute. So I bought this little attachment. You're supposed to actually get a socket to fit over that. It just so happened this attachment shrinks down small enough to fit on this, so I'm going to be able to pull it off. So a normal oil filter is this big around, and this is it's hilarious to me. I love it. Plus they don't make, there's only 3 brands that make oil filters for this car. They're kind of hard to find. So I bought the top of the line Wicks. Let's do it. So the oil today is going to be Castrol GTX Magnatech. I'm using this oil specifically for this car because that's an itty bitty baby. And the manufacturers call for 5W20, which I don't trust. I don't think 5W20 is enough of a lubricant to properly protect the car. The reason I come to the conclusion that 5W20 isn't a good enough lubricant, this truck is a Ford Escape. It's a 6-cylinder, and it calls for 5W20, and it's only got 169,000 miles on it, and the motor is already shot. I basically bought this truck out of charity. An elderly woman wound up with it, and it turned out to be a lemon, and whoever owned this before her just did not give a fuck about this truck. Straight up did not give a single fuck about this truck. And I felt bad for her because she got stuck with it. And I was like, oh, I need a utility truck around the house, you know. And the downside though is it burns a whole quart of oil every 100 miles. I prefer this oil for this small of a vehicle because it has stop and start protection. They completely discontinued this because I like it. And for all those who are interested or use Magnatech like I did, I looked up and found out that they discontinued it and replaced it with castor oil full synthetic. So if you're a fan of Magnatech like I am, you're going to have to switch over to full synthetic. It still has the superior stop and start. I think it's the same thing, just rebranded, honestly. Honestly, that's what I believe. So I could use a jack it up in the air and change the oil that way, but I think it's vitally important to get your car up in the air when you're doing this so you can look over everything else to make sure everything else is good standing. So now I'm gonna let this car run for 5, maybe 10 minutes, get that oil nice and hot so it'll just drop out of there. Let's go get the oil pan ready. Right there is the oil filter. It's gotta come off. Yeah, God, that's loose. I put that on there tight too. I really did, I ain't lying. I put that on there ridiculously tight. Alright, we got some leakage. Now we got some splatter. Alright, we're getting there. Ooh, I feel it getting loose, baby. Alright, try not to get it all over me. It's a 15, ladies and gentlemen. At least the hose pointed downwards. Usually it's pointed out to the side. So that might help me in this situation. And we're almost there. There we go. Let's let all this drain. And let's go compare this with the new one. So here's the old one. All good and nasty. And here's the new one. And yeah, exactly the same in every way. I always like to take a little old oil here and lube up this ring. I don't really know what that does. I guess it makes it seal better. I don't really know. I always seen my old timers do it. Monkey see, monkey do out here. This is not a necessary step, but I do recommend it because it just sort of makes you feel like you've done everything right. Like you've done everything you could do to show your car love. And I think it's really important to treat your car. Your car is your money maker. It is your tool. And I want to treat my car. So in order to do that, we're going to take some new fresh oil. And I'm going to fill this filter up about halfway. We're going to let it set. We're going to let that media inside this filter absorb that fresh oil and get this filter to prime. Now, if you have a car where your filter goes in sideways, you're probably not going to be able to do this, not as easily. You can fill it up about halfway and let that media absorb it and you'll be fine. But mine goes on sideways like that. So I want to fill her up to the tip top. So as soon as the car starts, it'll have a canister full of oil in this filter to pull from. If you start it without filling this up, it's got to suck oil from the oil pan, filter it out, and send it up to the motor. There's probably going to be a 30-second gap where your motor's going to run dry, and that is potential for a lot of wear. So the manufacturer's call for 5W20, and since this is a 2013, I'm going to listen to them. But man, that's some really light oil. That really is. That's some super light oil. I don't think I would run 5W20 in a bigger engine. I'm pretty sure this motor only calls for 4 quarts. I go ahead and throw 5 in there, sue me. A lot of people cringe at that. A lot of mechanics cringe at that, sue me. Every car I have calls for 4.5 quarts, and I go ahead and throw 5 quarts in every one of them. Sue me. The reason I do that is because when you're driving uphill, all that oil goes to one side of the pan. When you come to a complete stop, all that oil goes to one side of the pan. If you throw a little extra in there, it won't grab air and throw through the system. Sue me. That drained really quick. I just drained it till it started. I usually drain it to where it ain't dripping at all. And we're already almost there, and it's only been minutes. It's a snug fit up in here. You don't have any room to, there is next to no room to wiggle your hand up in here. You can only grab it from the top and the bottom and turn a quarter of a turn until you get it tightened up. It's really hard. You can barely get your hand around that backside. So I'm going to go find a towel. It really concerns me that when I went to pull the old one off, that it was loose. Because I tightened that beast down and I thought for sure I was going to need a oil filter wrench to pull that off, and it just came off. That's not good. Let's find out what's going on. Let's get a towel and grab hold of that so I'll have a better grip on it, because that oil, these gloves are slick. I mean, I'm purposely trying to tighten it down so much that I'm going to need a wrench to get it off. I'm doing that intentionally. And I think that's the best I can get it. So if it's loose when I go to get it back off, I want to check it in a week just to make sure, because that was, the inside of this oil is supposed to build up pressure. And if that's loose, it's not building up that pressure. And that's a problem. So now, we're going to take this. It's impossible to get this out without it getting filthy. We're going to clean this really well. That's supposed to be a magnet to get any metal chunks to come out of the motor. We're going to clean this up really nice. And we're going to put it back in. Let's do it. Here's a really important part. You want to get that snug. You don't want to take an impact wrench You don't want to put your body weight. I grab a hold of the end of the pedal, I grab a hold of the end of the wrench, and pull it towards me until I start to feel a little uncomfortable. And then I back off. That's a really sensitive part, and it does not have to be on there ultra tight. It's not a tire. And you want to clean that off. So if you get down the road and something don't seem right, you can just simply look up under here, and if it's not clean, you know there's something wrong. I like that there is a bottom to this, because I've had leaves fall out of trees and go inside that. At the same time, it's sort of a pain in the ass because you have to hold the funnel. It is what it is. So here's what we want to see when we pull off the oil cap. This has not ever been, well, it's been cleaned, but you know, there's nothing that looks like milk. It's good stuff. Let's clean that off so next time we look at it, we can properly diagnose. There's no crud, there's no sludge, there's no buildup. All good stuff, all good stuff. And it's just as simple as making chocolate chip cookies. Get all that liquid gold in there you can. And since we overfilled it, we're going to call it good right there. Voila! So now we're going to tell the computer that we changed the oil. What I do is I press the gas 3 times. It's just the easiest way you can actually go through the menu and do it. I'm not going to. Purrs like a kitten. Love it. Just as a precaution, we're going to get out here and make sure nothing's leaking anywhere. Sometimes them oil filters don't go on right and they'll start gushing the oil. I've had that happen. But nothing is coming from the bottom of the motor as far as fluids go and hitting the ground. This is all good stuff. So that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I got a really interesting video coming up. Changing the transmission fluid out in this. There's people out there that scream that you should not change your transmission fluid. I change my transmission fluid, especially if the transmission is still shifting and working correctly. That's what you do to prevent a transmission from not shifting and working correctly. So that's it for the day, kids, and until next time, peace.